Hi, my name is Michael Gardo, and today I'll be talking to you about how pianos are made and what they're made out of. The primary material used to make pianos, or at least grand pianos, but most pianos in general, is wood. And as a reference, I'll be using a lot of examples from Steinway. So Steinway has about $2 million of wood available at any given time in case there is any shortages of wood. So it's a very, very important material. The newbies that are new to Steinway usually work in the lumber pile first, and the wood that they choose for most of the piano is quarter sawn wood, which means that over time, as wood ages, it'll shrink, but the quarter sawn wood will shrink proportionately and it won't cup or bow in any way to affect the sound in any negative ways. The types of wood used in a Steinway, there are about 5 different types. The first is yellow birch, that is used in the cores of hammers, legs, and the pedal lyre. The sugar maple is used on the rim, case, and small parts in the action. Sugar pine is used for the ribs beneath the soundboard. Yellow poplar is usually used for veneered surfaces, such as the tops of keys, and Sitka spruce is the most important wood that they use, and is used for the soundboard. And this kind of tree is only grown in a narrowly bounded strip no more than 50 miles from the Pacific Ocean, in mountainous forests no higher than 3,000 feet from northern California to Alaska. So it's a very special kind of wood, and it's perfect because it's soft enough to transmit vibrations, so it'll flex, but it's strong enough to withstand the string pressure. And the rim and case consists of anywhere between 12 to 18 pieces of thin sheets of wood, about 3/16 of an inch thick. It is bent and glued in place by 6 people whose only job is making rims. In order to produce the sound of a piano, hammers must hit the strings in the piano, and the strings vibrate the soundboard made of Sitka spruce, as I talked about earlier, and they vibrate that via the bridge, and this is how most stringed instruments work. So usually there's a string that's resting on a bridge, and the bridge vibrates when the string vibrates, and the bridge transmits those vibrations to the soundboard, which is the thing that makes the most sound and gives the instrument its tonal qualities. I am currently at a grand piano. It is not a Steinway, it's a Kawai, but it works pretty much the same way, and we can pretend it's a Steinway just because I don't know the exact kinds of wood that they use in this piano, though they're probably pretty similar. Underneath here, you can see the soundboard. It is this wood right there, it's the whole plank of wood, and you can see the ribs on it as well to keep it strong. So these are the ribs. They extend all the way over there. And over here, you can see the bridge. So the bridge is this piece of wood that runs along here and has the strings on it. And this is the soundboard still. So the bridge vibrates because of these strings. And when the bridge vibrates, it vibrates the entire soundboard. Next up is the iron harp, which is made of iron, of course. And it is one solid piece that extends from the front of the piano to the very back, and it is what the strings are pulling against, and since it's made of iron, it's very strong, and it is what allows the piano to have such great tension on it, and as many strings as it has on it as well. You can also see here the iron harp. So it is this golden piece of metal. This whole piece of metal is the harp, and you can see that the strings are being held in place. Every single string is being held in place, pulling this iron harp. But since it's so strong, because it's made of iron, it doesn't break. The keyboard and action are very important parts of the piano, and the action allows, or modern action on modern pianos, allows the same notes to be played rapidly while also letting it sustain for as long as the key is held. So when you press down on a key, it lifts up on the damper, and it allows that string to vibrate if the hammer hits it. And the action works in such a way that when you finish pressing the key, you don't have to fully reset the key in order to play the next note. You don't have to do that. It resets pretty fast, so that allows for the same note to be played rapidly in succession. The felt on the hammers is soft on the outside and harder in the middle to allow for more expressiveness. So you can, if you hit the note very, very hard, if you hit the string very, very hard, it will kind of bypass that soft felt on the outside, and it'll hit the harder felt on the inside. It'll compress the felt, which gives it not only a louder sound, but it gives it a little bit different tone, which is useful for expressiveness. The hammers are adjusted for tone by needles or juice. So if the felt is too hard, or it's harder compared to the rest of the hammers, then they'll poke it with some needles to soften up the felt. And if it's too soft, they'll add some juice to it. I have removed a few parts from this piano, and you can better see the keyboard and the action. So if I press this key, which is the 20th key, you can see that it pivots on this pin right back here, and it hits a hammer. You can see at the very top, that white thing is hitting the string. So here's from the top, it is hitting those strings and producing that sound. While I keep the key depressed, the damper is held above, so it's going to let those notes sustain. And when I let the key fall back in place, the damper falls back in place, and the string stops vibrating. You can see all the hammers in here. I can't really get a good image of it from this view, but it has softer felt on the outside and harder felt on the inside, which allows it to have different tones. So if I play it very softly, as opposed to playing it loudly, you can hear differences in the quality of the sound.